Kia ora everyone, my name's Ainsley. I am a chronically ill creative based in Aotearoa, New Zealand, and I just wanted to share a little bit about what I've learned over the past few years dealing with depression, disability, and creativity, and what that has to do with ancient Egypt. Just follow along with me for this one. Just a little trigger warning for this, I do discuss suicide and mental health issues. So if you're not in a space to listen to that at the moment, that's totally cool. Come back to it at another date. So I created this presentation that I'm about to run through with you now for a workshop that I was part of last year, a really beautiful creative workshop in New Zealand. And it was the first time that I'd really spoken about my journey with depression, disability, and how that really impacted my mental health. So it's a little while later now, and I'm finally feeling like I'm brave enough and in the right space to be able to share this with the world. And although I'm no expert at anything I'm going to be talking about, this is just my personal experience and what I've learned along the way. I'm really hoping that it can possibly help other people as well, because I know that there's a lot of other people who struggle with chronic illness, struggle with depression, struggle with chronic fatigue, struggle with maintaining a artistic and creative practice. And so I'm really hoping that just the little bits that I've learned can maybe help somebody else who might be in the same area as me. It's a little less than 2 years ago now. I was sitting in the emergency department of the hospital waiting to see the mental health team. I had a wisdom tooth infection on top of the chronic illness, chronic pain that I already had from endometriosis, CPTSD, all other random issues that come along with those things. And I was telling the doctors there that I wanted to end my life. Not because I didn't enjoy my life, but I was just so sick of the pain. I couldn't go on another day living in my body with this much pain. And I wanted out of it. I wanted to be like, no, no more for me, thank you. I've done it, I've trialed this, it's not working for me. I'd like to step out. I also told them, however, that I just didn't have the energy to go through with that, because the thought of physically doing it was also just exhausting, and I didn't have the energy. So I was just sitting in ED for over 10 hours waiting to see someone to come and help me. Nobody came. In November 2021, I was rear-ended in a car accident while I was on my way to a gynecology appointment to assess getting a Mirena for my endometriosis symptoms. So those few weeks were not great. So a couple of weeks after I had this car accident, I also had a very traumatic Mirena IUD insertion. Went really, really wrong, and that ended up giving me quite severe PTSD, which then developed into CPTSD. And that in turn made my endometriosis symptoms skyrocket. So the thing that I went to go and get help with ended up making me much worse. It got to the point that I was in so much pain that I couldn't work anymore. I had no social life. My creative practice just completely fell apart. I didn't have the energy to do all the things that I enjoyed doing. My income completely disappeared. My independence disappeared. Everything that was important to me kind of just crumbled away, and I became physically and mentally disabled. I was bedbound for pretty much over 2 years, almost all the time. And then the wisdom tooth infection I got just really tipped me over the edge. And it was then I decided that I just couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't live like that anymore. I wanted out. So when my friend asked me to come and speak at this creative workshop, my first thought was, why me? Honestly, why me? So my career had completely plummeted. I had been too sick to work. I really lost my creative spark. I spent so long trying to survive financially as an artist, as a creative, while being on a sickness benefit. Not fun. Most of the time I felt like I just had no idea what I was doing, where I was going, where I belonged. I did not feel like a successful artist at all. So, my first thought when she asked me to come and present this was what kind of knowledge or wisdom could I possibly have for anyone working in the creative industry? And the first thing I thought of was, well, I've been there. If you've been there in that spot, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's the spot where no matter how positive you try to be, how you try and spin things, you just keep landing in giant piles of shit, basically. And it feels like there's no way out. You're just constantly stuck in this cycle. If you are currently here, I'm here to tell you that as much as it sucks, you just have to keep going. Even when it feels like you're walking through the deepest, darkest tunnel and there's no light at the end of it, you just have to keep going, just one foot in front of the other. It's taken me almost 10 years in the photography industry to find myself, which sounds so cheesy, but it's true. And in a lot of ways, it's a long way from where I first started. So, almost 10 years ago, I started my career at the bottom of the Eiffel Tower, which sounds kind of crazy, but it's true. I was living in Paris, working as a photographer and an English teacher, taking photos of usually quite wealthy couples who were there on their honeymoon or were getting engaged. It was a great job. I worked for myself. The money was good. I got to meet lots of really cool people. I was doing what I loved. It was awesome. Until I wasn't. I started to crave something a little bit deeper. I wanted more. I wanted to be doing things that were more meaningful and more impactful, and something that I could connect with a little bit better on a soulful level, I would say. So then I got into travel and documentary photography, and I absolutely loved this. This was like I'd found my spot. It was amazing. The money was not great, which, as you can expect, but I was seeing the world. I was taking some beautiful photos, really meaningful, impactful images. I was also using my skills as a writer, so I would do travel blogs and write about hotels and the places that I was going to. I got to stay in beautiful places, have these life-changing experiences, but it was not sustainable. It was something that was always going to be like a short-term plan, because there's not really a sustainable income that was there for me at that time. So after a heartbreak in Paris, I returned to New Zealand after 7 years overseas. In 2009, I kind of planned to only come back for a few months with the plan to leave again, go back to Paris, and then we all know what happened. COVID came, I got stuck in New Zealand, and I just kind of bid my time here. I was doing some work for a photography website. I went back to study. I was just picking up gigs here and there, doing whatever I can. I began to move into more of the boudoir space. I was doing okay, all things considered, but I wasn't thriving. I felt like I was being pulled in different directions, trying to find out who I was, what I wanted to do, what kind of artist I wanted to be, and I still had some pretty heavy imposter syndrome sometimes. It was tough coming into New Zealand. It's a very small community. People can be very closed-minded. The photography industry is small, and it's getting better, but it was very white man dominated, and I did not fit in with any of those people. So I'm really learning to create my own community here. But then getting sick really changed all of that for me. I had to change if I wanted to survive. So being sick forced me to really reevaluate my work. Once I got to that breaking point, I stopped pushing through and saying yes to gigs and to jobs that didn't pay well or didn't fuel my soul. I stopped putting energy into things that didn't fit my direction or my values or my kaupapa. I stopped feeling guilty about needing to rest and say no. I stopped trying to fit into a genre or a style or a niche because I thought it would make me more appealing and get me more clients. I also gave up trying to fight my illness, and I learned how to work with it. I learned to listen to it. Um, I learned to try and see what it could teach me about myself. And basically just started doing whatever I wanted and whatever felt right for me. And in the last couple of years, since I sort of made this big change, since I was in the ED, um, since I was in the emergency department, things have changed quite drastically because of this sort of new mentality that I had to adopt. So I started getting the gigs that I wanted. I started working with people that I wanted to work with. I was nominated for awards for work that I was really proud of. I had work published in Photo Vogue, in Grazia, in Elle. My style started evolving into something that felt more meaningful, more unique. I started my own little studio to offer a safe space for people to be photographed. I increased my prices and started to get more interest and bookings. And more importantly, I found the energy to start helping others. But the biggest help for me in all of this was leaning into my empowerment photography as a form of storytelling. And it's here that most people say, well, what is empowerment photography? So, empowerment photography is a practice on empowering people through body acceptance. This means essentially documenting people as they are, as they truly are. No Photoshop, no body editing, no stereotypical models, just real people in real surroundings. My aim with empowerment shoots was not only to empower the person having the photograph taken, but to show anyone who might see the images that all bodies are imperfect, all bodies are diverse, and importantly, all bodies are good bodies. Um, my goal with these shoots is to unlearn some of the harmful ideas that we've all been taught when we were younger about ourselves when it comes to body image, and learn to instead embrace our bodies with kindness and acceptance. This last couple of years, I've really found my home in this style of photography. The other thing that I did to fuel my soul was go back to university. I started studying Egyptology. And this was a childhood dream of mine. It's something that I always wanted to do since I was probably 5 years old. I've always been obsessed with ancient Egypt. So I decided to go for it after I lost the majority of my work during one of the COVID lockdowns. I was like, screw it, I'm going to go back, study, do what I want to do. And the more I learn about ancient Egypt, the more it actually influences my photography practice. So, understanding how body image has changed and evolved over the past 6,000 years or so has been really enlightening. The way that body shapes change fashion, the way in which the ideal moves from culture to culture, from time period, is really important because it tells us that there's never really been one ideal body. So why do we spend so much of our time trying to achieve this ideal body when it's just going to change again? It's always evolving, it's always changing. And in reality, it never actually existed. You look at the statues, you look at some of the paintings, they're very rarely based off one realistic body type. They take little bits of what they think the ideal body would look like from different women, from different people, and put them together to create this ideal body. It's not based on a real person. So instead of trying to chase this thing that is elusive and mysterious and changing and may not have ever existed, why not just celebrate the bodies that we have already? Why not? So for me, I do this through photography. And in the end, because I leaned into the things that I loved and the things that fueled me, my imposter syndrome just completely disappeared. After all, I'm not trying to be like anyone else. I'm not trying to fit a niche. I'm not aiming to be successful or necessarily make loads of money, or I'm not competing with anybody else. I don't know anybody else who's doing empowerment photography with a lens through the ancient world. I don't know anybody else that's doing that. Um, so I just started doing what I love to do, what makes me feel good. And because of that, I don't feel self conscious anymore. If someone doesn't like what I do or they don't get it, like, that's fine. Totally fine because I like what I do. I get it. It makes me feel good. And at the end of the day, that's actually all that matters. So, all of this is to say, if you can relate to any of this, if you're currently doing work that you're not happy with, if you're being pulled in different directions, if you feel like you can't find your niche, if you're facing obstacle after obstacle, wondering where you're going wrong, or you're wondering when the bad luck will end, I just have to say it does get better. You will find your place. You just need to keep on going, one foot in front of the other. Believe in yourself, believe in your kaupapa, do what you love, and the rest will follow. That's it from me. If this has resonated with you in any way, or you feel like you know somebody who might benefit from this, please send them my way. Please do the old like and subscribe. Hit me up on my social media. My Instagram is AinsleyDSCreative. I'm always around for chat, so I'm always here to get feedback, to listen to your stories. And I'm here to create a little creative well-being community, especially for those who are chronically ill, disabled, minority groups, anybody who feels like they don't fit the mold of what a successful artist should be, or they have to do things a little bit differently. I am here for you. I want to hear from you. I want to make this happen. So please get in touch, follow along, say hi.